It is Friday, the 17th of November 2023. If you are watching me on Camnet TV this morning, I guess you are alive, and it is a reason to just say thank you, Lord Almighty, for the gift of life that you've given us. But of course, this is a breakfast show on Camnet TV, not just another channel where we discuss a lot of pertinent issues happening around in the country. Of course, I know the couple of weeks or months or 2 months or so has been coupled with a lot of drama under the Patriotic Front administration. Now we are seeing government through the chief government spokesperson equally responding to some of the allegations that are being labeled against the government. We've also seen a lot of fundamentals in our economy, such as the depreciation of the Zambian kwacha. We've also seen the issue of the currency not performing according to expectation. We've also seen the issues of inflation going high, and things like that. So all that, we'll be looking at it later on in the program. We also see Zambia's bone. When we say bone, we mean like the backbone. The backbone of a human being is the reason why they function. So we know that copper, or rather the mining sector, is the backbone of the economy, and it is the biggest earner of forex. But the mining sector itself is coupled with a lot of challenges that they are facing. How is it that we can improve our mines to ensure that we utilize the much needed resources out of it? That and many other things we'll be discussing on the program. Remember, today, Friday, we look at the business sector of what is happening in the country. It is business for breakfast, and we strictly feed on business. But that does not mean we cannot zoom into some of the stories that made headline to just see what trends have been happening around in the country. So I am your host this morning, Prudence Chota, and of course I will dive directly into the health corner just to see what the doctors have for us on the platform this morning. So let's just hear the tips that the doctors will give us this morning, 17th of November 2023.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Health Corner here on the Breakfast Show. My name is Dr. Nakubia Namfaya. So this week we are talking about typhoid fever, and we talked about what is typhoid fever. We say that it's a diarrhea disease that is caused by a bacteria called Salmonella typhi or Salmonella paratyphi. Then we also say that it's transmitted through the fecal-oral route, and usually persons who have the infections can be able to pass the bacteria through the stool, and if a person has infected hands and they touch the food that you're eating and you ingest that food, you can be able to get the infection as well. Then we also talked about people who live in certain areas where there is a sewer. They can also get this infection through drinking contaminated water. Then we also talked about some of the signs and symptoms. We say that people with typhoid fever would have fever, and this fever usually progresses every single day. So it increases in severity every single day. The other thing is that they would have abdominal pain. They would also have constipation or diarrhea. So they might have constipation first and then diarrhea later, or they might only have constipation, or they might only have the diarrhea alone. The other thing is they would have body pains, body weakness, joint pains. They would also have rose spots. So these are like rashes that would develop on the abdomen or on the trunk, and these rashes would be red in color, and they would signify that there's a bacteria that has infected the skin of these patients. Then we talked about how it's diagnosed and treated. We say that usually they would need to do cultures of the stool, the urine, and the blood as well. Treatment is based on the antibiotics that work in that particular area or in that particular hospital, because places are different, and based on the types of sensitivities that are there, then they would be able to recommend a bacteria, an antibiotic for you to use. The other thing is that you need to replenish fluids for these patients and give them a good, soft, nutritious diet that will provide them with good nutrition to help them recover. They would also need to keep or observe good hygiene to prevent infecting other people. So today we'll talk about prevention. How can you prevent yourself from getting this infection? So first of all, you need to understand that if somebody is sick in your house, you need to advise them to observe good hygiene so that they can wash their hands every time they use the toilet, and even anybody else in the house. Make sure that they are washing their hands every time they use the bathroom. And also, if you're in public areas, make sure you wash your hands every time you use the bathroom or every time you greet other people. Before you eat your food, always wash your hands. And also cover your food every time you have leftover foods. Don't leave your food exposed and risk of contaminating the food from other carriers like flies can increase. So make sure you cover your food and protect your food. The other thing is, if you are in a place where you drink water from the borehole, try to boil the water. Try to boil it before you can drink the water. So drink boiled water or chlorinated water so that you prevent yourself from getting this infection. The other thing that you need to do is avoid being in overcrowded places. If you stay in an overcrowded place, then observe good hygiene, or if you're in overcrowded places, in an overcrowded place, observe good hygiene. So typhoid fever can cause many complications in the body, so it's important that we protect ourselves. It can cause what we call a perforation in the intestines, and this can be very risky and can call for you to go for an operation. So you need to protect yourself and protect other people as well by observing good hygiene. The other thing is that it can cause nerve problems and psychiatric problems. So if it's not treated promptly, you can end up having complications in the nervous system where somebody has paralysis and other complications of the nervous system. So make sure you get treatment early. Take your loved ones to the hospital as soon as possible and get treated for typhoid, because it's possible for it to be treated and it's possible for you to stay clear of this infection. So I do hope you have learned something today. Make sure you watch again next week here on the Breakfast Show on the Health Corner. I am Dr. Nakubiana Mfaya. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me on Facebook at Dr. Nakubiana Mfaya. And if you missed any other episodes, you can watch my YouTube videos. That is Dr. Nakubiana Mfaya as well. I'll see you again next time. Remember to stay healthy and stay blessed.
There you have it. That was Dr. Mfaya there, just giving us a tip on how you can prevent typhoid fever. Sometimes you do take advantage of the fact that drugs can be sold off the counter, so people can just go and buy drugs. When you feel you've got high temperature, you go and buy some Panadol to just take and suppress the temperature. But that sometimes does not solve the solution. Typhoid is really bad. It made me almost meet my maker. So don't take these things for granted and lightly, because I was also as ignorant as you may be. For those of us who like taking prescriptions, and I had this very, very high fever for some time, and I bought Panadols. My mom would say no, because maybe it might be malaria. We ended up self-prescribing, taking Coartem and all these other things, but that did not solve the problem until one day I just decided to go to the clinic just to do some tests on myself. Then I realized actually I had typhoid, and that was at a point when I was almost weak. I couldn't even move, and my temperature was really very high. Like I was feeling everything in your body is just wrong. You take all medication, it's not working. Then I decided to seek, expert from the hospital to see what the problem was, only to realize that I had typhoid. And it's one thing I never thought I would have, because I took all the precautionary measures to ensure that I don't drink contaminated water, but you might never know sometimes where we might get contaminated water and stuff like that. So please, let's ensure that we follow the tips that the doctors are giving us. Typhoid is very, very dangerous if not well treated. And the bad part is it can even, be transferred to the other person. You're using same cups, same bathrooms. I know sometimes in these, compounds where we stay, there's a tendency of sharing the same bathroom, the same toilet. So once someone is from bathing, they leave the bacteria, the virus there. There's also a probability that the next person just going to take a bath there can have typhoid. So please, let's take precaution, do what the doctors are advising us. This particular segment on the Health Corner is just meant to give us a tip on how we can prevent certain kind of illnesses and how we can live with certain conditions for those who already have them. So that was the Health Corner, and that's a very important topic with regard to typhoid. And then also for those of us with boreholes at homes, sometimes we do take advantage to just drink water directly from the borehole because we think it's safe. Actually, it's one of the most dangerous, if not, because if you are near a compound or a compound which has got pit latrines, there's a probability water down there gets mixed with the fecal matter in pit latrines. And when you have a borehole, you just directly draw water and you drink, you are exposing yourself to the risk of having typhoid. So let's take precaution, more especially that we are in the rain season with a lot of water levels going up. Take precaution. That's why we are bringing you this to prepare you for the rain season. We had this topic on typhoid, which the doctor has been talking about throughout this week, and it has been to lead us through the rain season, even as we begin to see the crowds show us some signs of rain. So that was what we could accommodate on the Health Corner. But let's also look into what is happening in our economy, and that's with regards to the money market. How is it that our local currency is performing against other major competitors? Let's just take a look at this. That is the money market for today, 17th of November 2023, as at 07:13 hour. 07:13. Pardon me, the Zambian kwacha against the Great British Pound was buying at 28 kwacha 45 ngwe and selling at 29 kwacha 01 ngwe. When you see that 28 kwacha, almost 30% of your local currency losing its value, you know that something somewhere is not okay. So Zambian kwacha against the euro, they are buying at 24 kwacha 89 ngwe and selling at 25 kwacha 39 ngwe. The Zambian kwacha against the South African rand, they are buying at 1 kwacha 25 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 28 ngwe. The Zambian kwacha against the United States dollar, buying at 22 kwacha 89 ngwe and selling at 23 kwacha 34 ngwe. That is the money market for this morning, not according to what we expect, knowing the fact that South Africa is our neighbor here, and it is buying at 1 kwacha 25 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 28 ngwe. That's really a depreciation for a country like Zambia. Look at the Great British Pound there, almost becoming 30 kwacha against 1 British pound for kwacha. Something is not adding up in our economy, and of course we've seen there the United States dollar, they are buying at 22 kwacha, almost 23 kwacha. Our policy makers, can we please try to get answers as to why our local currency is really under attack? I know most of the times, our economists keep telling us to say Zambia is an economy which is not producing. So when you're not producing enough, including the mining sector, that usually gives us forex. you realize that if you look at the graphs, the production of copper in the country has really degraded over the past few months. Looking at the trends this year, it's always been downsizing. And we do trade a lot in copper. That's like our main forex earner. So if the mines are not producing enough, there is also a probability that what we are trading will, not be according to what we do. So in the end, we will end up recording trade deficits. And for real, last month, when the Zambia Statistical Agency did give us the monthly bulletin, when they were announcing about the developments in the economy, we actually recorded a trade deficit. When you record a trade deficit, it simply means you have imported more than you have exported. So the difference between what you're importing and what you're exporting is called either deficit or a surplus. So if you export more than what you import, you record a trade surplus. There is surplus, when we talk about surplus, there is more than what you expect. You've done a surplus. But where you import more than you are exporting, you have probability that you might be recording a trade deficit. And this is what has been happening. We recorded a trade deficit actually in September and October. We are now in November, and we will see how we performed last year. But according to the figures that we've been seeing, it has not been really impressive. And this is the reason why even our local currency now is under threat and under attack, because even in the mining sector, we are not producing enough. There are issues that are coming with low ore qualities, mines are struggling, but mines are struggling. They've been given also mine tax holidays, but we are being told the mine is struggling to produce the enough minerals to export to other countries. Then there are also issues, of the copper on the international market also not performing quite well. And this should give us a challenge as a country. What other things can we look to that can earn us enough forex to keep the economy running? If we do not put up these measures, the kwacha will continue to weaken. If we are not manufacturing to an extent where we export to other countries, the local currency will continue to depreciate because there is so much demand for other currencies compared to our own here in Zambia. So this is just a challenge to the young people, to the youth like me. Let's take up responsibility. Let's take up the manufacturing sector. It doesn't matter how small that business is. Start it. What is important is you keep going. Before you know it, you will be the next trade king that will be exporting to other countries. That way we will be attracting more forex in the country and improving our economy. That's what China has actually done. China exports almost everything to all the parts of the world. When you are exporting, you are attracting more currencies in your country. Your economy begins to perform well. So you've seen the money markets this morning. It's not been impressive. And despite all the interventions that the government is putting in place, things just don't seem to be working for us. So it is time we started producing. Don't be scared to take up the challenge of becoming a miner. Sujilites is here for the people of Zambia. Just do the right thing. Apply for the mining license. Let you be given a mining, start mining and start exporting so that we can attract more forex away from the copper. If copper is not working, let's look to something else. We've got gold everywhere. Get a mining license, get a trading license. You can even get a trading license. If you do not have the resources to get a mining license, you can get a trading license and you can be buying legally, not illegally. We like illegal business, but actually getting a mining license, a trading license is very cheap. You can get that license and you can begin to trade, you can sell, and we can attract more forex. So that's the only way we can improve our economy. But moving on from that topic of depreciation and appreciation of the Zambian kwacha, yesterday we did see the Coach Drivers Union of Zambia, Kuduza, threatened to down tools on December 1st, 2023, citing failure by the government to address concerns of poor pay among its members. Union General Secretary William Simbao says coach drivers are being subjected to mega wages, with the highest being 5,000 kwacha, and efforts to engage the Ministry of Labor has fallen on deaf ears. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News in Lusaka Thursday afternoon, Mr. Simbao says failure by the Labor Commissioner to address the concerns in the letter directed to him will result in work stoppages on December 1st. Labor Commissioner Givens Muntengwa has, however, advised the union to approach a conciliator to bring the drivers and the coach owners together to discuss their conditions of service. When we talk about coach drivers, we mean these, coach buses, the Marco Polos, the one we use for long distances. They are threatening to down their tools, and when they do that, it will almost cripple the economy, because there will be less movements from people who do business and trade. They cannot move from Solwezi to Lusaka. They can neither move from here to Livingstone, to Shangombo, to wherever you may talk about, because those are the mode of transport that we use. So imagine just 1 week of those drivers going on a go-slow, what would happen on the Zambian economy. So that was one of the stories that made headline. Let's just zoom into it and see what we are talking about.
Coach drivers have threatened work stoppage on 1st December 2023, citing poor working conditions characterized by low salaries. Coach Drivers Union of Zambia Koduza General Secretary Wycliffe Simbao says the drivers are demanding minimum pay of 5,000 kwacha and an agreement to commence sector negotiations for better pay. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News in Lusaka, Mr. Simbao said drivers are operating under poor conditions with low pay.
As drivers, seeing that there's no job security, the drivers are employed without contracts. Some drivers are paid without pay slips. Even the 20% NAPSA withdrawal, a lot of drivers were surprised after working for 20 years, only to find that there's only 15,000 kwacha at NAPSA. Coach driving is not an easy thing. We work for more hours, even on public holidays. Government stipulated working hours is 8 hours. For us, the driver can work even for 18 hours, from 04 to 22 hours.
Mr. Simbao says efforts to write the Ministry of Labour and Social Security has proved futile and left drivers with no option but to down tools if government does not address their matter by December 1st, 2023.
We have no option but to stop the buses on 1st December 2023 because we have done everything that we can. The coach owners, the bus owners, have an association. So this association has vowed not to accept the union because they want the union to interfere in the way they treat their employees.
Labour Commissioner Givens Muntengwa has however urged the drivers to familiarize themselves with the legal procedure on addressing labour disputes. Mr. Muntengwa says the drivers have to approach a conciliator who will evaluate conditions of service, which will then culminate into negotiations with their employer, as opposed to outrightly engaging the ministry and threatening a strike.
And it is social dialogue that must be promoted. There is no arm twisting. I think that must be understood in context. So what they are supposed to do is to take that dispute to a conciliator who will then sit down the two parties so that the two parties can reason and look at the conditions currently prevailing in those companies.
For Camnet TV News, Afias Kaptula, Lusaka.
There you have it. That was the Coach Drivers Association of Zambia General Secretary Mr. Wycliffe Simbao. They are saying the drivers will, effective 1st December, go on strike because their plight are not being addressed by the Ministry of Labour, despite them having written to the Labour Commissioner expressing their concerns. So if you are planning to move between that particular time, my advice to you will be just hold on a little bit until you see the way things will go, because you might end up being stuck with goods at Intercity, and that's one place you wouldn't love to be stuck on when you've got a lot of goods. I remember one time my sister-in-law did leave, our bags with someone at Intercity, just said, okay, I want to go to the toilet. And they were sitting with this particular person for quite some time. And she said, you know what, you sit with someone for some time, you get into conversating, you talk to them and you feel, okay, I can trust them. So she said, okay, I want to use the bathroom. Can I please leave the bags with you? And the lady said, oh, okay. And she went to the toilet. When she came back, all her katundu was gone. And that lady was nowhere to be seen. So that's the way it is at Intercity. I'm not saying that's the way the case has always been, but there are such incidences that you will record when you go to Intercity. So if you're planning to travel or to come and buy goods by 1st of December, my advice would be just wait a little bit and see how this issue will be addressed, so that when you come to Lusaka, you are certain that you will be able to get back home in the shortest possible time. So the bus coach drivers, they are threatening to protest due to failure by the Ministry of Labour to address their plight, despite them having written to the ministry. So that is one of the stories that made headline in our news. You too can be part of the conversation. Let us know what you have to say over that particular story. Just leave us a message on our Facebook page, because this particular program is being streamed live, and I will be able to read the messages. Just very soon I will be shouting out to some of you watching us on Facebook. So just say good morning so that I can be able to say good morning back to you. So of course, the Breakfast Show on Camnet TV also gives you a platform where you can just call, make your voice known to the policymakers. Trust me, policymakers are listening. When you speak, they do listen. We have instances where we're just from hosting a program, and because a caller expressed a concern, we do hear actually someone call and say, that particular caller raised this concern. Can I please respond? Can you come to my office? I want to give a comment. We've received those messages from ministers. We received those messages from people in the government, from the CSOs, from all stakeholders, because they are listening. So if you've got a concern, this particular platform gives you an opportunity to just interact and have your voice heard. In other stories, we know what has been happening in Parliament for some time. Before we can, just dive into the conversation this morning, Embattled Mporokoso Member of Parliament Brian Mondowile has challenged the decision by Speaker of the National Assembly Nelly Muti to acknowledge the alleged appointment of Robert Chavenga as leader of opposition in Parliament, when there was a notice that Mr. Chavenga was not recognized by the PF. In the affidavit of summon before the High Court, Mr. Mondowile argues that the decision by the Speaker of the National Assembly to replace Mr. Mondowile with Mr. Chavenga as leader of opposition is illegal now and void, because it is based on our belief that the office bearers of the PF had been changed at the Registrar of Society, when in fact not. Let's zoom into the story that made headline in our news yesterday.
Legal battles are slowly becoming the order of the day for the former ruling Patriotic Front, with the emerging faction surrounding its operations, as Mporokoso Member of Parliament Brian Mondowile has challenged the decision by the Speaker of the National Assembly, Nelly Muti, to oust him as leader of the opposition and replace him with Mafinga Member of Parliament Robert Chavenga. On Wednesday, 1st November 2023, Speaker of the National Assembly recognized the Mafinga lawmaker as the new leader of opposition in Parliament, to the dismay of others. However, Mporokoso Member of Parliament Brian Mondowile has challenged the Speaker's decision, describing it as illegal, irrational, and now and void. The Mporokoso lawmaker argues that the Speaker's decision to replace him with Mr. Chavenga without following the prescriptions of Article 74(2) of the Constitution is tainted with procedural misconduct and incites gross illegal, dishonest behavior in defiance to the rules that require such a change. In his arguments, Mr. Mondowile contends that a letter was authored by opposition members of Parliament indicating that there were no elections relating to the leader of opposition in Parliament on 30 October 2023. He adds that on the same date, Secretary General of the Patriotic Front, Mr. Raphael Nakachinda, wrote to the clerk informing him that the party had not made changes to their leadership in Parliament and that Morgan Ngona is a stranger to the party. But following the said letter from the opposition MPs, the clerk of the National Assembly responded to the letter, stating among other things that they were alive to the provisions of Article 74(2) of the Zambian Constitution. Mr. Mondowile indicates that it is fit to grant a stay of the decision of the Speaker of the National Assembly, Nelly Muti, because she acted in excess of her powers, despite being communicated by the Secretary General to the PF, Mr. Nakachinda, that Morgan Ngona was not known by the party. As such, the former leader of opposition in Parliament is seeking an order staying the decision made by the Speaker, Nelly Muti, until the court determines the matter. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
There you have it, former leader of opposition in Parliament, Brian Mondowile. They are challenging the decision by the Speaker to have him removed as the opposition leader in Parliament. So he has dragged actually the Speaker into court is drag the speaker in court, pardon me, because it feels the decision was now and void, as the office bearers under the Patriotic Front at the Registrar of Society has not been changed. So that was Mr. Mondubile. They filed in a court order that the speaker did not act according to the law and seeking court intervention. So we are going to see how this particular incident is going to unfold, because we know there has been a lot of happening with regards to this. But also the Minister of Information, Mr. Cornelius Moito, I think 2 days ago in a briefing held in Lusaka, indicated to say, you know, this mess in the Patriotic Front has been caused by themselves, and it is high time that as a country we moved to talk about more progressive things as we leave them to handle their own mess, because you can't drag everyone in the mess that you make. He even made a reference to the devil to say, you know, they act like a devil who's non-repentant, because when Satan sinned against God, he was alone, but now he wants to tempt everyone and drag them in his own mess so that he doesn't go to hell alone. But instead, this is similar to what the Patriotic Front is doing. They cause the mess, but they want to drag everyone into it by saying, no, let's stand up, let's fight, let's protest. So he said, you know, their behavior can be likened to that of the devil, but we need to move on and now start looking at progressive things that are happening in the country, because under the UPND administration, a lot has happened in the past 2 years. So that was according to the Chief Government Spokesperson, Mr. Cornelius Moito, at a briefing he held 2 days ago. So you two can be part of the conversation. Let us know what you have to say with regards to that. But I know we will be soon allowing our guests in studio so that we can go to the topic of discussion this morning. Remember, when we looked at the money markets, Zambia's kwacha is really depreciating against other major convertibles, and it is almost 30% weaker according to the information that we just saw. It is 30% weaker to the Great British Pound and about 23% weaker to the United States dollar. So one of the fundamental reasons why the kwacha is not performing according to expectation is because as a country, we are not exporting the much needed exports to other countries, including the mining sector. There has been a degradation in how much we are exporting to other countries. And it is high time we started looking at what are some of the solutions to these challenges. We know we've dealt on copper for so many years, and when you see that things are not moving according, you need to change gears. It's like you're moving in gear 1, you're driving a manual vehicle. You see, you need to ascend, and the speed is not allowing you to move at that. You will feel the car, it will tell you something is wrong, so you change into the right gear to ensure that you ride smoothly on the road. So when things don't work, what is it that you need to look at? We will be discussing that shortly, but before we do that, let's zoom into another story that made headline in our news yesterday, where opposition Socialist Party President Fred Membe has been given a police bond after spending a night in police cells for alleged espionage in relation to involvement in a Zimbabwean documentary titled The Grand Regional Scheme, Its Foreign Powers and Local Elite Are Destroying Africa Route, Part 1. Mr. Membe was arrested on 15th of November on allegation that between August 26, 2023 and September 16, 2023 in Lusaka, featured in a documentary where without lawful authority communicated information intended to be directly or indirectly useful to a foreign power and compromising the safety of the country. So as we allow our guests to just settle in, let's zoom into that story that made headline in our news yesterday.
Opposition Socialist Party President Fred Membe has been released on police bond after spending a night at Shilanga's Westwood Police Station. Dr. Fred Membe was arrested on Wednesday, November 15th for espionage in relation to a feature in a documentary titled The Grand Regional Scheme, Its Foreign Powers and Local Elites Are Destroying Africa, Part 1, alleged to have been published between August 26, 2023 and September 16, 2023 in Lusaka. Speaking shortly after leaving the cells of Westwood Police Station, Dr. Membe advised Republican President Hakainde Hichilema to concentrate on addressing the cost of living in the country, unlike arresting opposition political leaders for what he calls ridiculous charges.
It is very clear that this puppet regime of Hakainde Hichilema wants to perpetuate itself in power by having no opposition.
That's right.
They have been saying it that there's no opposition. And they want to perpetrate that myth and make it a reality by the destruction of the opposition. We will not allow it.
No.
Arresting me, arresting Comrade Nakachinda on charges of sedition will not bring food to the hungry people of this country.
Patriotic Front Secretary General Rafo Nakachinda, who was released earlier on a similar offense, rushed to offer a shoulder to the espionage-charged Socialist Party leader.
Even after being arrested, I want to re-echo. Never Sumba was not suitable to go to Zimbabwe on behalf of Waka in the HLM. They were compromised. They didn't have the moral standing to go and do what they were doing there. And if that opinion amounts to espionage, I'll commit that offense several times, to 1,000 times, because I still believe that Never Sumba was the wrong emissary to send on behalf of the Zambian people to Zimbabwe.
Meanwhile, New Heritage Party leader Chishala Kateka says the arrest of opposition leaders is indication enough that President Hichilema has failed to address the challenges facing the country.
When a president fails to manage the economy, fails to manage the problems in the nation, you will be able to tell this by the fact that he now turns to the opposition.
While in detention, Dr. Membe was visited by their Royal Highnesses, Senior Chief Mwamba, Chief Imporokoso of the Bemba-speaking people, and the church, among others. Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
There you have it. That was opposition leader Socialist Party being released from custody, where he had spent a night yesterday, and he was adding, his voice to his arrest, and says it was very unfair. There is so much focus on opposition leaders in the country rather than on the economy, which at the moment is not performing according to the expectation of most of the Zambian people. So that was Mr. Membe there. We also saw Madam Chishala Kateka there, also offering solidarity to his colleague, who they say his detention was very unfair. Remember also earlier yesterday, we did see opposition leaders hold a press briefing where they were adding their voices to the happening around in the country. Away from that, though, we are now going to dive into our conversation this morning. Remember, Zambia's economy is not performing according to expectation because our greatest forex earner is not producing the much needed copper ores for us to export to other countries. This leaves us with a question: are we supposed to start looking to other alternatives, or what is it that we need to do, considering that the manufacturing sector in our country is on a weaker side, for lack of a better word to say? I know we are not producing a lot to export. We have few companies that are actually doing that in the likes of Zambia Sugar. We know there's Trade Kings and a few companies that I can mention that are exporting, but it is just a small fraction of how much we are importing in the country. Looking at even toothpicks, airbrushes, eboebos, just those plastic shoes, everything is being exported from other countries. But we know our biggest forex earner is copper, but at the moment copper does not just seem to work. So where are we doing it wrong as a country, and what do we need to do? Do you think maybe small scale miners can be a game changer if well supported? So this morning I am joined in studio by the Federation of Small Scale Miners Association of Zambia Secretary General, is it? Yes, there, Mr. Madford. Sir, good morning.
Morning.
And thank you for joining us back on set this morning.
Thank you.
I know I hosted you just 2 weeks ago,
yes,
and we had a wonderful conversation, though time was not really with us, but we hope that we can exhaust most of the things that we did not exhaust at that particular time when we had a conversation just 2 weeks ago.
Sure.
And also in studio, I am not with Mr. Madford alone. I am joined by Mr. Charles Chileshe, who is the Vice Secretary for Zambia Integrated Gemstone Trade Association. Mr. Chileshe, good morning.
Good morning, madam.
Thank you so much that you are joining us on set this morning. And we're looking forward to having a wonderful discussion with you. I know most of those who've been following this program, we have been hosting the Federation of Small-Scale Miners Association of Zambia almost every week on a Friday, like today, because we want to exhaust this particular topic to ensure that the policymakers listen to the voices of those small-scale miners in rural areas where sometimes they do not even reach. If we cannot rely on the big ones, it's high time we moved to support small-scale miners to ensure that they equally contribute to the breadbasket of this country. So, Mr. Matford, I know a lot of people know about the Federation of Small-Scale Miners Association, but Mr. Chileshe, people might be wondering what your association is all about and stuff like that. So just give us just a brief view of who you are as an association.
Zambia Integrated Gemstone Association, Trade Association, is an association which has actually welcomed the people who are buying, selling, and exporting, including the miners themselves who are mining. This is the goal of the association is to bring together all the gemstone traders and the miners so as to move forward with or to understand that how the mining and the gemstone traders can come together and work together to export or to sell the gemstones.
Where are you based?
Our office is here in Lusaka.
Okay.
And we are at I can say we are Chachacha House, room 16.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
That's
most of the time I know
offices,
gemstone is found in Lufanyama, so you find that most of associations that have to do with gemstone are either on the copper belt in Lufanyama and other places like that. So it's actually interesting to know that you are here in Lusaka. But Lusaka, of course, has no gemstone. So how do you put your head office here where there are no mines?
Well, Lusaka is the center of the country first, and is a center for all the people coming from the Copper Belt, from Mansa, from Eastern Province, from Western Province, from Southern Province. It is a center where we can meet, and it is also easy for us to do the exports, because the ministry is also here in, and will help them to the gemstone miners to do the export and the exhibitions.
Okay.
Yes.
Very interesting. Mr. Mumba, let me move to you this morning as we are looking into the topic, that is how are delays in formulating mining policies affecting the Small-Scale Miners Association of Zambia. I know from the time we realized that in the country we have other minerals apart from what we thought. We now have the likes of sugilite, we now have the likes of lithium, we now have the likes of all these gold and stuff like that. We did see the Ministry of Mines did mention that they've banned the mining and export of sugilite and lithium until they come up, with the policies, the right policies that are supposed to guide how the mining of these minerals is supposed to be done. But looking at the period, since April, this is like November, almost coming to the end of the year, we've not seen any announcement being done by the government. Maybe just give us a highlight. How is this delay by government to formulate these policies affecting you, the small-scale miners, especially those who are eager to start mining lithium and sugilite?
Thank you for that very mouthful question. Actually, it's quite it's quite a difficult situation actually. You remember the cadastre was closed for quite some time, and they have been trying to reorganize the cadastres, and you will find that there was a lot of problems in the cadastre department. Now the government took up the stand of trying to clean up the cadastre system. There are a lot of problems around there, and we know and understand, us as a federation, yes, it was quite a messy in the cadastre department. But they have tried to clean, but not completely. They have cleaned up the cadastre department, and they have started actually formalization of all these small-scale miners. There are a lot of cooperatives that have been formalized in most of the rural areas, and they are still doing the same formalization in the outskirts of the country. As you have said, you see there are a lot of minerals that have been found around in the outskirts of the country, but mostly it has been found by the local people, you see. And at times, like the sphegelite that you're talking about, the manganese and lithium, we did not know in the first place that there's the lithium here, there's the manganese was there, since lithium is a byproduct of amethyst. Yes. So most people were mining as amethyst. But little did we know that there was the lithium within, embedded there.
And you were cleaning out the amethyst, the lithium. When you mine amethyst, you clean the lithium out and you throw it away. And just remain
low, as low grade, you see?
Okay.
Now with the coming up of this critical minerals program throughout the whole country, you know, critical minerals, there are a lot of them. You know, there's the manganese, there's the sphegelite, you know, but not so much. Lithium, manganese, cobalt, and copper, including graphite. Graphite is all over in this country, but no one thought of it. It's all over. Even at my village in the Lumezi district, there's a lot of graphite there.
I think I'll move to Lumezi.
Some women were used to get the graphite to paint, to decorate pots and decorate houses.
Wow.
It didn't know that it's a very valuable mineral. And the graphite, you can use it to make pencils. And we buy pencils from China. Can you see? We buy pencils from India. But here we have got graphite here. And graphite is even used for, you know, electrical, for like, you know, the product, you make it, to make a grease.
Oh.
Yeah, yes, for grease.
For grease.
Yeah. And you know, the government has actually made a lot of strides in the formalization, but there is a lot of problems there also. You know, like these critical minerals, we do not have proper data at the moment of the deposit that is there across the country. We need the geological mapping for all these critical minerals, and it should be done as quickly as possible. Because most of the country, developed countries, they are very fast. You see, by the time we realize the price will be very low. But now here we are. We have banned the exports of all these critical minerals like lithium and manganese. But the area we do and ban, and we start exporting, the better.
There's one thing that caught my attention this morning. I was just trying to get data about the price of lithium. The time government banned the export of lithium, lithium on the international market was selling at $600 per ton.
Yeah.
Then, when government imposed that ban, but because we've taken too long, you know, to formulate the policies, as of today, the price of lithium actually on the international market has dropped to about $200 per ton from 600. So that's about a reduction of about $400, which is, if it is in percentage form, I would even literally say, you know, it has dropped by almost 80% because it has moved from $600 per ton to now about $200 per ton. Mr. Chileshe, pardon me, let me move to you. as Zambia Integrated Gemstone Trade Association of Zambia, this delay by the government, to come up with policies and allow your members to freely trade on the market, now seeing the reduction in the cost of minerals on the international market. I know even for Sujilite, maybe I'll come to that later, let me not mambo jumbo the two. Let me just talk really about lithium, which we've seen drastically reduce on the international market. If we did allow, the traders by then to go ahead, I know we could have milked quite substantial amount of money than it is now. So moving forward, what do you advise government should be doing in order to ensure that we do not have this void in our economy where prices on the international market are high until they reduce? That's when you decide to allow people to continue trading.
Yeah, thank you very much. Actually, on this subject, it's a bit crucial and very technical. You see, when you look at lithium, lithium is not something you can find like this is copper and this is lithium, like it is an ore body. No, lithium comes in minerals, like it's a host mineral of, for example, tourmaline, amethyst. It's an element. It's really not a mineral the way copper is with the whole body. No, it is an element which is found in many minerals. Yeah, so by us stopping really the export of that element or that lithium, which means we are allowing other countries, because lithium is everywhere, even in America, in Russia, everywhere, in China. Once they start mining in their own countries, in other countries, which means the price will start going down, because they will have developed so much their mines such that when we develop our own here, it will have no impact. Right now we have so much. If we had to develop now, before the other people develop, the price will be actually substantial. Like you said, 600 and reduced to 200. We've lost, I don't know how much percentage, if you look at the percentage. We've lost almost 80% of the actual price. Right now, the government should allow people to export the lithium. Because if they don't allow the export of lithium, people will be smuggling it. Because miners like the amethyst miners, tourmaline miners, they'll be mining and lithium will be coming out. Where are they going to keep it? If it is even a risk for those miners, because they will have thieves in the night to come and steal. You can't keep 200 tons of lithium at the mine. How are you going to secure it? People will come in and steal it and sell to all illegal miners and the smugglers. Yes. So we need to formalize the export of lithium. We are mining lithium. We cannot say we are not mining. We are mining lithium because it is coming with other minerals. And we cannot mine amethyst without mining lithium. Because it's a whole body. The lithium is like the whole body itself. So we have to mine amethyst, and because we are mining lithium because we are mining amethyst. We are mining lithium because we are mining tourmaline. We are mining lithium because we are mining other minerals which comes with lithium. We cannot go just to mine lithium. It's difficult. You mine other minerals and the lithium is coming as a byproduct.
So even if government has banned, the export of lithium, that has not stopped people from mining, because lithium is a byproduct of the other minerals that we are mining.
Exactly.
Meaning the country now is losing huge sums of monies through the black market. Let's talk about the formalization, of the mineral value chain here in the country. Last time we did host the director in the Ministry of Mine here, Cadastre Department, he did indicate that actually they've concluded this particular process, and they're just doing one or two things to ensure that the process is complete. But I remember I hosted him about 2 months ago, and 2023 is coming to an end through to 2024. Yet, we don't have anything on the table to even guide the mining of sugilite. Mr. Mumba, let me get to you. Sugilite mining in Zambia. Do you think the price of this commodity will continue to be the way it is on the international market?
Not at all, not at all. You see, they are even developing other products, you see, through the laboratory to take over this sugilite and all that. Can you see? And at the same time, you find that these batteries which are already there, they want to recycle. There's lithium. We have lithium batteries already. They want to recycle those. Now, when you know there are a lot of batteries throughout the whole world, if they start recycling, I think you have heard someone going with a loudspeaker. We want battery. We want
batteries.
Yes. There's lithium there. There's lithium there.
Okay.
Now, if at all we are late in implementing all these policies, we shall lose out greatly, actually. We shall lose out greatly. It's better the government, while they are formulating these programs, whatever is already there can be exported. We get some money.
This also brings me to this question, Mr. Mumba. Just with you, we've seen actually last month when the Zambia Statistical Agency was giving us statistics, we actually recorded a trade deficit. And the reason that is because we are now importing more than we are exporting. I know in the past we've been exporting quite a good substantial amount of, copper ores, but the production of copper in the country is now drastically reducing. And it is a sign that we need to change the game. We need to change the gears in terms of the minerals that we are trading in. So considering the fact that copper production in the country keeps degrading, what should we be looking at as a country in order to earn us the needed forex to trade in the economy?
Yes, you see, we have to mobilize the small-scale miners. Small-scale miners are plenty, there are many. They are scattered across the whole country. Mining various types of minerals. If only, the government can look at the small-scale miners, finance them. There must be a financing program for the small-scale miners so that they can supplement the exports of copper. You see, the president has, pronounced that he must produce 3 million tons of copper. Now, to reach to that figure, you need a lot of effort. That's where we need a lot of small-scale miners across the country, at least to, just like the way they assist the agriculture, fish and all that. Let the government do the same to the small-scale miners, so that they can produce more and then fill into the deficit that is there. Because for us to reach 3 million tons is quite a big job. These large-scale miners, at the moment, they need a lot of effort to reach the 3 million tons. You see?
Mr. Chileshe, let me move to you. Mr. Mumba says, achieving the aspiration of us having 3 million metric tons of copper by the year 2031 is nearly impossible, looking at what is happening in the economy. Do you think the fact that government has paid so much attention to the copper sector, in the mining sector, has resulted in other minerals not really contributing according to the way they should in our economy? I speak to this because whenever we hear figures or whenever we hear about mining, government talk about mining, the only thing that has been prioritized is copper. And so even the big mining sectors have been given tax holidays, most of them trading in copper. But if you look at other minerals, there's literally very few to even show off to say they've been given these incentives to go ahead and do mining. So do you think the prioritization of copper in the country has led to the non-growth of other minerals or other mining sectors here in Zambia apart from copper?
Yes. Moderator, you see, let me just take you back a bit when you said you hosted the Minister of Mines director. and when he was talking about the value chain, of course, the value chain on copper is there, but it's not up to the end, because we are not producing anything from the copper itself. We used to make bushes. Right now, we hardly making cables to add value to that copper. Instead, we are just exporting all the copper. Now, coming back to that, on the lithium, as much as we are not giving chance or licenses to those people who are mining, who are supposed to mine like lithium, how are they going to even add value to the same lithium which is supposed to come? Where the investors going to, where the investor confidence going to come from? Because for an investor to invest in a mine of lithium, he should look at lithium. Oh, this mine has lithium, and the license is valued, and he can export the lithium. Now, for them to put up a factory of lithium, then they should be guaranteed to say, yes, when you put up a factory of lithium, reaching lithium to 70, 80%, because the same lithium we are talking about is only 3%, 2%, 1 point something percent. This is the lithium we're talking about. You have to reach it to 90 or 70, and the only country which is doing that is China. China is the only one which is reaching up to 80 or 90% of lithium. Now, for us to do it, we have to put up factories. Now, where is the confidence going to come from the to give to the investor? Yes, because the investor has to be confident that these people, they can produce.
I can produce and I can sell.
And they can sell.
Now they can't.
Now, the country has locked it. They say, no, we can't sell. You can produce, but you can't sell. Then the confident, the investor will look at us and say, you are bringing in this issue, and yet your country doesn't want to sell. What am I going to do with it?
By the time the country will be opening up, the market would have dropped.
In fact, this is not. We have had some investors who approached us way back 3 years ago, and they wanted to bring in money to make the factories. And when the policy came to say no, we cannot export, they pulled out. Wow. They went to Zimbabwe. Wow. Yes, they've gone back to Zimbabwe. They wanted to come with money ready. They said, no, we can't. They've gone back. Wow. So the country has lost. It was the investment where we were supposed to reach the lithium up to 60-70%. And it was, the next step was going to start making batteries. So all those things, the government has to look at it. Allow the people to export. Allow the people to mine lithium. This is where the point is. The government is losing a lot. Right now, people are smuggling it. But what is leading that to is because they have it and they don't know where to take it. So people comes, we throw it around, and people come to the mine, salvage the mine, and pick it up and send it somewhere where we might even not know.
No taxes are even coming out of that.
How are you going to follow up? Because someone picked it, sold it to someone who doesn't even register himself as he has bought lithium. Yes, maybe he will register as he has bought soil. We don't know what it is. Yeah, so let's have the registration put in place. And give us the roadmap. Even to ask the system to say, okay, they will be buying all the lithium It's okay for us. At least we mine and we sell somewhere.
Government keeps arguing to say, no, we are formulating a roadmap, and it doesn't take days for you to formulate. If you don't do it rightly, you will realize that in the end, there's nothing that will be coming out of that. This has been government's argument.
Now, look at it in this way. I go to the bank to mine lithium. The government gave me exploration for lithium, and I find it, and I've gone to the bank to borrow maybe 10 million, 20 million to mine. And then the bank will not tell me, no, government has stopped you from exporting. So you hold on to the interest. No. It won't hold on to the interest. The interest will just be accumulating. So what do I do? Should I say, oh, okay, let me take it back? Who's losing? We are all losing. The government is losing. The individual miner is losing. Just as a country, we are losing. Yeah, we will allow other countries to export or to make batteries. We will not have all those facilities because we have blocked ourselves.
I like the point that you've mentioned to say, there was an investor who expressed interest, but because they don't have, they pulled out and went elsewhere. This leaves me with these questions in my mind. The, involving of politics into the mining sector. Mr. Mumba, let me come to you. Do you think there's too much political influence in the way our mines operate, and it is high time we detached politics from governance issues when it comes to the mines?
Yeah, you are very right. There's a lot of politics involved in just like KCM, what has been happening. There's so much interference within politics.
Let me hold your thought. Yeah. I think we have a caller. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, thank you, sir. You're through to Camnet TV Breakfast Show. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
My name is Bondo Kelvin. I'm calling from Petauke.
Mr. Kelvin from Petauke, it's good to know Petauke is tuned in this morning.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Yes. I've heard you talking much about, every time they are talking about copper. And little do this mention about, gemstones. And that mining of gemstones started a long time ago. A very good example is where even Kazam is. There are a number of mines there. And if you look at even the surrounding places, are very poor, and there's no dark road going to the areas where this mining is done, and the millions of dollars, if not billions, have been gotten from the same mine. So the government or a president cannot upgrade these special minerals in the sense that these have been their loyalties. They are given minerals, and a very good example I'll give you, even the stones that Moise Katumbi got in the period of Wanawasa. And when it comes to lithium, there's a lot of lithium in Pakistan. And the president we have right now is a well-educated person, and he knows the importance of lithium. And I don't know why he's quiet about it. And all they do is just to talk about copper and life. So the issue, the way I heard the other one said, the way physics is done, that's also for small scale miners is supposed to be done. We need these small scale miners, to begin to start, at a higher level. Thank you very much.
So, Mr. Lwendo, thank you so much for that contribution. Mr. Lwendo there from Petauke, even equally giving us same concerns when he says there has been so much promotion on copper. It's everything copper, everything copper. We have a lot of lithium, we have a lot of, he's even mentioned gemstone in Lufanyama, where even just a road leading to the mine leaves much to be desired, but they've been mining for years. It's like we've just given it out to them, have it on a silver platter. For us, we're only interested in copper. So everything is just copper, copper, copper. I think it's high time we moved, you know, from talking about copper to start looking at other productive minerals that we have in the country. And what is it that we can get from them? So that was Mr. Lwendo there calling us from Petaoke with that contribution.
Yeah, let me, he is very right actually, very 100% right. You see, in Kajam, in Rufanyama there, that area of Rufanyama is highly mineralized. It's not only emeralds. It's highly mineralized. There are some rare earth minerals there. There are other minerals that are there whereby most people are not disclosing. If only you can have, you see, proper geological mapping there, you find that you can get a lot of minerals there.
It can be a game changer.
Yes, yes. Just that Rufanyama, even the emerald, only the emerald itself, it's a lot of money. You can get more money than even the copper we are looking at with the emeralds. We can survive on emeralds rather than on copper. That's why we're saying no copper every time. From the time I was born is copper. No one is talking about emeralds.
No one is talking about emeralds.
Yes.
Yeah, we've given them, it's only for the elite. They mine, they pay taxes, and that's all we care about.
And they get that money to go and sell in Malaysia. Why can't we sell it here? There are a lot of small-scale miners there. They can't be assisted. If you assist maybe 10 mines there in Rufanyama itself, you see this country can change.
Mr. Lwendo has also given a challenge to the small-scale miners. You need to up the game. That was according to him.
Yeah, financial matters.
You don't have the financial muscle.
Yes, you see, you see, like what we are saying. In the rural areas, a lot of people have discovered within the when they're digging, when they're clearing their fields, you hit a stone, you find that it's blue. I will give you one funny story. There's this man who was trying to dig a beet latrine. Now he hits a pocket of tourmaline. You know, tourmaline can be blue, green, red. So he said, no, this is witchcraft. How can this? So he went,
someone came and planted charms in my field.
Yes. He picked those things. There's another one within the village. He says, no, these are stones they sell. It was in Rondad actually. Let's go and try to sell to some Indians. He went to an Indian. The Indian went, they had the pockets. They went to the Indian. The Indian looked at it. He gave them 2 bicycles, brand new bicycles. So this man says, no, there must be a lot of money. How can this man give us 2 brand new? It's not really. So he went around to those people who were hanging around. They look at it and says, no, where is it? They went there, and there was a run on the mine. So they started mining there until it kept the 6 people died. Can you see? Then it was closed, just like the way they are closing now. It was closed for good. But there was one intelligent young man. He went around and he came to Kadasta, got a license, got everything, started mining. God made some good money there. Can you see? Now we are leaving out money through this slow formalization. The mining policy is not conducive for small-scale mining. Actually, it's not. The mining policy is not good. Right now, 500 miners have been charged not less than 250,000. Do you know what is 250,000? For a village. Before rebasing, 250 million. Who had 250 million that time? Can you see that's the policy also must change? You see? Like the man there, what he was saying. He's quite right, actually. It's terrible, actually. It's terrible.
Before the caller there, we were talking to the fact that, you know, we need to detach politics from the way the mining sector is operating. So before I can move to Mr. Chileshe here, maybe you can speak to that.
Yeah, we have to, you know, mining is a business. It's a big business throughout the whole world. Zambia survives on mining and nothing else. You cannot say, no, let's go. I've seen a lot of people, let's go to tourism. Tourism is also surviving on mining. Agriculture is surviving on mining. So when we involve a lot of politics in mining, there will be a lot of disturbances. Leave mining to the technocrats. The proper miners, proper mining businesses. Yes, not politics. Every time you're in politics, how long has it taken for KCM to be sorted out? How long? There is politics upon politics. So I think it's better we leave mining to business people. Yes.
Mr. Cheleshi, let me move to you. I know this trend has been happening in the country where almost all the time we have change of leadership in the country. You realize that we have this certain group of people who will from nowhere show up and they will be given mines. It's like when there is this campaign going on, there is always a promise of when I get into office, this particular mining thing is going to, okay, you want a license? Okay, just wait for me. When I come into office, this is what we are going to do. This is what we are going to do. So this also has been a contributing factor to why maybe our mines have not been making the much progress that we need. How is it that maybe going forward we should structure the mines? Even before you can give a license to a foreign entity, how are we supposed to scrutinize them to ensure that indeed when they are coming to mine, the interest is not just to get the mineral. I know everyone, when they are putting money there to make profit, but you're also considerate of the environment around in which you are trading, because we have an instances where people just come, mine, leave disaster, and off they go.
Yes. You see, if we leave the mining out of politics, it will create a room for the miners, because the miners are businessmen. They are not just from the street and start doing things. No, they want to put in the money and get out the profit. And also, we have to look at the what is the mining sector looking at the social welfare of the people around them. Yeah, that also has to be looked into. Yes, the mining house should make sure that the people around the mining area are benefiting also. How are they benefiting? Through, well, employing them, through putting infrastructure around the place, promoting schools, promoting the roads, and promoting actually the social infrastructure everywhere. Yeah. So when we are mining, we are not really politicking. We are actually doing business. Yes. So let's allow the government to part away or partner with the miners as government, not as politicians, as government to run the business of mines. So if they have ideas to bring in the mining sector, let them come and dialogue with us. Because if you want to give each and every jack the mine and what, give the people who understand mining, give them the licenses because they do understand mining, not chancers. Don't give chancers the mines. Give people who understand mining. Because if you give to a chancer, he will just, once the mine he produces and he gets the material once and once he sells, he forget about mining. Why should he go back to mining? Because he's only looking at that profit at that time.
I've already made my money.
Yeah, he has made his money and forget. And then this burden or the horse is left with the miners who are indigenous miners, because they are looking at it as a vast mine. What have we done here? What have we done there? But the chancers, they don't look at that. They're only looking at getting one stone, sell, and forget about it, and move to other businesses. Yes. So we must look at If we are looking at the miners, look at them as miners. If we are looking at traders, look at them as traders. So if the help comes for traders, give the traders that help. If the help comes as miners, give the miners that help. And the policies, don't mix the policies of traders and miners together. Formulate the policies for miners. Formulate the policies for traders. So we don't have to mix the two. Yes. The traders and the miners, they know how to mix, how to meet themselves, how to formulate their business, how to run their business. It has nothing to do with the policies of the government. Because the policies of mining and the policies of traders are two different things anyway. So let's look at the policies of mining and support the mines and miners fully in machinery, in registration. Make it simple for them. Like now, the registration, especially on reporting, it is being computerized. People, a villager will not understand how to submit returns on the they call it, we call it, the ministry is calling it Moses. They don't know even Moses, what is it? Is it a person? Is it, you know, yeah.
It's crossing the Red Sea in the Bible.
Exactly. So go and submit on Moses. And what is this? We are minors. We are minors. We are not, computer experts and all those. We are minors. Show us the way properly. Simple way. Oh, you produce 10 kilo, right here 10 kilo. Okay, when this month, okay, the date, on 10 November, I produced 10 kilo of so much.
We've been talking a lot about, the decentralization policy. And when we talk about decentralization, most of the time people are just taking decentralization in the issuance of, CDF. Let's decentralize so that CDF can reach the people, can reach those in rural areas, can reach whatsoever. But let's talk about maybe the decentralization of the Ministry of Mines department. How does, the issue of just having the Ministry of Mines here in Lusaka affecting even small-scale miners there in deep rural areas, from even understanding the Moses you're talking about? Should we say this is high time we decentralize the Ministry of Mines? Or maybe should we use ZCCMIH as an institution that needs to decentralize?
No, actually, the government should decentralize the mining sector, even the restoration sector. Because, you see, a miner from Kalabo is coming to pay just area charges. And he doesn't know how to send the money, he has to travel from Kalabo to here and pay the area charges. But they say, no. They haven't given you the invoice. So you have to go back and come back maybe in 10 days for you to receive the invoice so that you can pay. Now, the person is from Kalabo. He traveled all the way to come and pay, or to get even a license, which has been registered maybe 5 months ago, and he wants to receive the license. He said, no, come to Lusaka and sign and then receive. You see, if there was something nearer, he could have gone there and then be educated and be given the license, or be given whatever he needs. Quickly. Because we are businessmen. We don't have time to sit in the cadastre office to start looking at the, waiting for to be given a license. You have 5 days. We lose 5 days in the mine. It is a lot for us. What are we going to do?
And that 5 days you're losing, you're also spending money.
You are spending money, yes. So it's very difficult for us miners. Very, very difficult. So they must formulate or decentralize the mining cadastre or the department itself. Yeah.
Let me move.
In fact, to add on, you
please,
see,
Mr. Mumba.
Decentralization is very necessary in the mine. You see, you have got all the ministries in this provincial and the district. You have got the Ministry of Environment there, you know, Ministry of
Community Development.
Community Development. All the ministries are there. You see, health is there. Why can they just decide? It's just Ministry of Mines. Just to partner up with those ministries. Like maybe the artisanal mining. You cannot go an artisan from Pika to come here. You lodge in your application and it will take maybe 2 months, 3 months for it to be processed. You go back. Then they send you an SMS message. Your application has been successful. Can you come and collect a letter of offer? He comes here, they tell you the letter is not yet signed. And you come next week. Now you are coming from Pika. How many
kilometers?
Yes. And how many trips are you going to make?
With the cost of transport at the moment.
If it's there in the district, at district level, you can easily go to maybe the district officer or any other person who has been given that mandate. You do everything there. Rather than going up and down. Yeah. Right now, there's a lot of confusion there. There are those letters for defaults.
And then to make matters worse, if you don't continue making follow-ups, your letter might take forever for it to be attended to.
And at the same time, when someone will say, no, I've got no money, I'm tired, and it will expire. When you go there next, they tell you, no, it has expired. And that offer letter is 14 days. Can you see? And when it expires, you have lost the space. Can you see how serious it is?
Mr. Chileshe, you look like you want to add something.
Yes,
please.
You see, also for the ministry, if they are in those districts, it's easy for the monitoring and to educate the miners. You see, like on safety issues, the ministry has to be almost on each and every mine to monitor how they are conducting their mining, if it is safe and if it is conducive for mining. So it is good for the monitoring because we are partners with ministry. We must be, the ministry has to educate us, come to us and give us the direction of mining. Maybe if possible, they assign someone who can be maybe every week pass through the mine and see if we are really doing the right thing. They're not police. You see, they are there to educate us and to show us the direction so that we can make money as a country and as a mining house. So they must give us direction. They must be monitoring us. Monitoring does not mean to give us the penalties every time. Oh no, you have done this. No. You are going to, you are going to pay that, to pay. No. Let them monitor us and we do things on time, in time. Yeah, so this is, it will grow the mining sector this way. Yeah, because we are going to be following the channel of mining and the policies.
Of course.
Yeah.
In case you're just tuning into Camnet TV, I know we are coming to the dying end of the program. We are in studio today joined by the Federation of Small-Scale Miners Association of Zambia, by General Secretary Mr. Madford Mumba, and I am also joined by the Zambia Integrated Gemstone Trade Association of Zambia Vice Secretary, Mr.
Yes.
Charles Chileshe, and we are looking at the delays in government in formulating the mining policies. How is it that they're affecting the small-scale miners? So that was the topic, and I know there has been a lot of talk with regards to copper in the country. But if you've seen, the depreciation of the Zambian kwacha at the moment is due to the fact that we are not exporting as much as we should, because copper production in the country has really gone down, coupled with a lot of challenges such as low copper ores, the grade of copper. We are apparently being told they are low grades. We've got issues of mining flooding, and the question that we are asking is, government has delayed to formulate these policies that allow the small-scale miners to equally participate in the mining of important minerals such as lithium and sugilite, which can earn the country a lot of money, including gemstones that have not been exploited. We also have a target of achieving 33 million metric tons of copper by the year 2030. But there isn't any target that has been set for any other mineral in the country. This just shows how much we've paid attention to copper, neglecting other sectors. So Mr. Chileshe here and Mr. Mumba were giving me highlights in that particular sector. But maybe before I can release you for today, let me just have your concluding remarks on the topic that we are discussing today. Let me start with you, Mr. Mumba there.
No, yeah, I think the government should look at the policy issues regarding to small-scale miners. Small-scale miners are actually just fused in, like you have said, into the policies of large-scale mining, who are basically mining copper. Yes. There's no proper policy for small-scale miners. They just
sorry for cutting you short. I remember when I was growing up, because I grew up on the copper belt in Wansha. My father was a miner.
Yes.
The only thing that we've known since growing up is that when you hear the word mine, it's only copper. That's the only thing that comes to your mind. I'm sure even the generation that is growing up now, when they just hear you mention the word mining, the only thing that comes to their mind is copper, because that's the only thing we hear.
Yes. That's why, because we just think copper. Just like when you are mining aquamarine. Aquamarine has got what we call low grade aquamarine. It's a very big thing. But there is the beryllium there. Very important. We were throwing away, just looking for aquamarine, the gem type. That thing but when the Chinese came in, they saw it. They were all over. They started picking. That's how now we came, these things are valuable. That's how now they started exporting the beryllium. Because, from time immemorial, it's just copper, ignoring everything. It's quite sad. Yes. I think the government should look at critically at the small-scale miner. But the president actually has alluded to the upgrading of small-scale miners. But there's nothing, no program for, developing the small-scale miner. There's no program. So that the small-scale miner is a springboard to develop into large-scale.
Very important there. Mr. Chileshe, in a minute, under a minute, your concluding remarks.
Well, thank you very much, because we are looking at the export of lithium. Lithium, as much as it's a strategic mineral, the government should put a delivery policy to make it a way how to export or how to reach it, the lithium trading. Because when you look at the people who are coming in, the people who want to invest in the mines, they should look at us as we have the deposit and we can develop it and export the product. Yes. That's how they will help us even upgrade the lithium. Yeah. So let them come out and show us the way. The government should show us the way. If it is ZCCM wants to buy it, we will give it to ZCCM, but not just to leave it the way it is. We don't know what to do with it.
Don't know what to do with it.
Yes.
Wow, we had the chance to make millions out of it some couple of months ago.
Exactly.
Delays, procrastination, the consequences of all this. But thank you so much for everyone who's been watching the Camnet TV Breakfast Show here on a Friday edition, which is Business for Breakfast. We bring you this program courtesy of the Federation of Small-Scale Miners Association of Zambia, and don't get faded of hearing about this particular issue, because we want to see how is it that we can grow the Zambian economy by ensuring that small-scale miners are equally supported and they contribute to the bread basket of this country. The issue of not having forex in this country could have been a thing of the past if at all we did pay much attention to other minerals in the country, as well as supporting the small-scale miners who have their potential to attract a lot of forex in the country, which is at the moment not happening because we've been brainwashed that it is only copper that can develop the country. But all minerals in the country have now been declared strategic, and we are yet to see where this declaration is likely to take our country. So from me, Prudence Chota, your host this morning, and the entire Camnet TV production team, it's bye for now, and God bless you.